Fam, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the CEO Pulse podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. We are doing another beautiful, amazing, awesome episode of the Mindset Monday series with my co-host, Justin Thorstad. Beam, 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 beam. Ouch!
Wrong co-host intro.
Yeah, what? Bro, I'm trying to have this like really kind of like endearing tone to the entire
that was like
conversation.
A baby lullaby.
Whatever, bro. All right, so let's talk about. You know what? Maybe it was, and I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna own it.
Good, because it's your result.
All right, which leads me right into today's topic, which is owning it. Okay, let's first off, I'm very excited that we have headphones or headsets. We have headsets.
He's super excited.
Yeah.
Like over the top excited.
I didn't realize how sexy my voice was. It's very sexy.
Sure.
Very sexy.
We'll go with that.
Okay, now with that being said, let's talk about owning it. Okay, it, whatever it may be, whatever you're going through, whatever you're dealing with, whatever battle is going, through in your head, whatever issue or conflict or I don't know drama you're going through, owning it, it's gonna. I mean, it's something that that always just kind of brings me back to a sense of responsibility and action taking, as opposed to waiting on things to happen or a lot of times the need to or the ability to take action. We leave it up to somebody else to give us approval, give us permission, give us, whatever, right? But when you own whatever circumstance you're under or you're going through, I feel like everything changes. You become a leader within yourself.
Yes. Well, I think specifically because if you think about it, like if you're waiting on somebody else to give you permission or for conditions to be just right, whatever the hell that is, like it's very victim, meaning that is controlling me. And if I'm a victim to it, I don't have any power.
Correct.
And so the opposite, being responsible, the ability to respond, response able, like you are powerful. You get to decide and you get to change anything and everything at any point that you desire. Like that's exciting. That's like liberating, right? Instead of, I'm not able to until or unless. You know what I mean? So it's a powerful state of being.
It is. And I know that the context might be a little vague, right? Like what does own it? What do they mean by that? And I just kind of want to simplify it like this, right? It's about being in a state of mind where everything is ultimately your fault.
I'm going to say your result.
No, this is, okay, so I use it as a pattern interrupt.
Okay.
Your fault. I like to use the word fault. Why? Because we have a context. We have the idea that fault is a bad thing. And it's really not. I mean, if it's a good thing, it's going to be, and it happened because of something I did, right? It's my fault. If it's not, so it kind of precedes action. Fault precedes action, in my idea, and then we have the result, which is a post-action, effect, right? But I feel like when we sit and just contemplate things and understand that everything, is it really? I mean. Ask yourself the question, right? Like if you're going through something, through a battle, through a challenge, through uncertainty, when you own it, when you say, okay, cool. I mean, this is I may not be the best at this thing, but I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna accept what it is, relinquish to it. Per se, right? Then you can start moving forward. Then you can start actually taking action on a lot of the things that often set us back.
So another way I could say it, if I'm understanding you correctly, is like when I own that deficiency of mine, right? Like it by accepting it, then I can actually do something about it. Because think about it, if I have a insufficiency and I'm not willing to admit it or look at it, then I keep avoiding this whole situation. Nothing happens, which something's happening, like it's decaying results.
Right.
And I'm not able to do anything about it because I'm unwilling to talk about it. I'm in resistance to what is. Yet if I own it as mine, now I can accept it, and now we can move forward, and solutions will be provided, and they'll unfold.
Yeah.
But only through acceptance. So owning it.
Exactly that, and then I mean we use it in another context, right? It's about owning the responsibility of everything. It's so you have, I don't know, you have bad results. You have the need to place blame on somebody, some situation, some circumstance, something that's outside of us.
Yeah, external.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it becomes so easy. I feel like most of the time it's used as a scapegoat, right?
Yeah,
like it's easy to put blame on something when we don't own the responsibility of it.
Yeah.
We don't own the it's up to somebody else. It's up to whatever. But at the end of the day, like if it's something that's within your lane, like I feel like I'm going around in circles here, but there's something I want to say, just can't find the right words for it. It's hard to clarify a lot of times and actually want to have that level of clarity, because then we have to own things.
Well,
does that make sense?
Totally. And so when you blame something external, a person, a circumstance, whatever, like when you say that to somebody else, like I don't know about you, but for me, if that were to come out of my mouth, like the most important person knows that's a bullshit story. Like it's just not true, and you feel that. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like to place blame somewhere else. Yeah, like a lot of people do that because, well, hey, if I'm not able to win or to succeed or achieve because of him or her or that,
then it's not my fault. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and now I get to stay safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
Because you can't expect anything different from me because it's not my fault.
Exactly.
And it's like, man, doesn't that just feel like shit? I mean, low energy, victim, like. You're basically saying that you're controlling my life, that external thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird.
It's I'm going to use a really, really interesting analogy, right? But once somebody once told me, like you're an eagle. Like, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you want to be an eagle. Like, be an eagle. If you want to be be an eagle. If you want to be an eagle, right? So, I mean, there's certain things that eagles need to do. Like, they don't ask for permission on a lot of things. They don't. I mean, they own. They're top tier hunters, and
they're
right.
independent.
Like
they're not in a flock.
They're eagles, right? People want to be eagles, yet they behave like turkeys. It's like turkeys don't fly. Yeah. Turkeys don't fly.
Well, the other thing eagle does is it flies like when there's a storm. Instead of it sitting there enduring, like it flies above the storm.
Right, exactly. So it raises. I mean, it comes like halfway through their life cycle. They find themselves. They actually go and then fly away to this cave and then reinvent themselves or rebirth themselves and then come back out stronger. Right. So there's so many different things that we can dive into the analogy of it. But I feel like the desire to be that. Symbolically, right? Like an eagle is there for entrepreneurs, yet not owning whatever journey you're going through, not owning whatever lane you're in, whatever challenge you're in front of, and feeling comfortable, just not even comfortable, bro, but just feeling okay with placing the blame of your results on somebody else, something else. Without actually going 110% and actually giving everything that you got into it. It's exactly without doing whatever it takes. It's really behaving like a turkey when you want to be an eagle.
100%. And if you think about it, which one do we eat?
I hope that made sense. I don't know if it made sense.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it when you said it's my fault. Like if we take the traditional context, I mean, how I interpreted that was fault is like blame. Right? But if you think about it, like that's my fault. What about our insufficiencies? Those are faults, right? And like I love discovering my faults. You know why?
Yeah.
Not because I have evidence now to beat myself up or put myself down. No, but now I see if this is just recently in my business, probably 6 months ago, a friend told me about this book, and he calls me up. He's like, "Hey, can I give you some feedback?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "You're the bottleneck in the business," and I was like. Offended, you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean?
Dare
like,
you?
Yeah, I'm the leader, right? And he's like, here's why. And he gave me some examples, and he's like, you got to listen to this book. So I did. I was like, oh my God, he's right. Like, I'm the one stepping on the hose.
Yeah.
I'm the kink, you know what I mean? Because of some faults. I should not be in charge of that. It's not my strength. It's not even the job that a leader should do. Like, I'm doing too many things, and I'm lost in the weeds. Like, and so that's a fault of mine. And so having the awareness, I get to take me out of the way and like unkink the hose, and now flow can occur. So it's like if you like write down what are those flaws. Where am I the kink in the hose? Where am I? Is there something I'm just not good at? It's not in alignment with my personality. Maybe like in wholesaling, right? Like if you're a one-person Joe and you suck at data entry and it takes you forever and it doesn't inspire you, yet it's got to get done, so you have KPIs and things like that. Isn't that something you can delegate?
Yeah.
And if you were to delegate that, now you have more of your mental bandwidth freed up to focus on what you love doing. That's purposeful, it's meaningful, and it also produces revenue. Like, that's what you should be doing. So knowing your faults, your insufficiencies, and finding a way to delegate that or remove it completely or something that's off your plate so that you can focus more of your energy, time, attention on your gifts, talents, and the likely things you love to do.
Yeah, I feel a lot of it can can trickle over to the ego side, right? Like and this may be, I don't know, it may sound like it doesn't go hand in hand, but I feel like it does. A lot of times the not owning things or not taking responsibility can be because of insecurities that we have.
Sure.
And I don't know, we have insecurities about our leadership style. We have insecurities about what our level of success. We have there's so many different things, right? They can factorize that way. And owning it becomes it's like if I don't own it, like if I don't man up to it, and I'm using that in the human context, it's I don't have to deal with whatever happens, whatever outcome, right? And it's not gonna have. It's almost like a lack of compromise that's happening there.
Yeah.
When we're missing out on that. But I feel like the ego can lead us to listen. No, because I'm gonna be found out that I'm inadequate in those areas.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, man, like it's I'll give you one example. And I've talked about this before on the podcast. When I started doing content and recording videos and all that, so just getting in front of a camera, man, it was like deer in the headlights. You know what I mean? It's like,
or you know what you're gonna say, but then you hit record, you're like,
yeah, like exactly, like what? Yeah, I mean, Gio started with me when I started doing the first videos.
Sorry, Gio.
It was rough.
Hey,
dude.
he's still here?
Like he'd spend
Damn.
like 6 months editing a 3-minute video.
It's like you're not giving me much to work with, bro.
yeah, exactly. I mean, there was no raw talent at all.
It's like
so. And not that it, not that the raw talent is there now, but like I don't know, I built some skill sets and formats and frameworks and whatever, right? Yeah. But it's something that that to me was a big thing. However, I understood that for me to get my message out there, I have to be louder about the stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah.
If I want to have the really like lean into my purpose, which is empowering entrepreneurship, this is how I have to do it. This is what calls I can't empower entrepreneurship if I'm not being loud about it, right?
Totally. No one's gonna know.
Yeah. So anyways, it was a need in the lane that I was in, right? So I would start getting in front of the camera, and I would listen to myself 50 times over and over again. It was like, man, my accent is fucked up. Like I hate it. I just didn't like how I sounded, right? And it was absolutely a me thing. Then I realized is like nobody cares.
Well, not only that, definitely, because like the realtors that work at my brokerage, right? I'm always telling them, do videos. You got to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And like a lot of them are afraid. And I ask, why are you afraid to do videos? Well, I don't like the way I look.
Yeah.
I don't like my voice. I don't like the way I sound. It's like, that's how you look and sound.
Yeah,
and there's still some
around
people that like you.
All over the place.
Yeah. Like it's not different on camera.
Yeah, you still found love somewhere.
Maybe.
No. So maybe, yeah. So case in point, right? Like the message was more important and than my idea of whatever insecurity and
the
whatever reason
perceived.
I didn't want to really own it.
Yeah.
So for me, getting in front of the camera at the end of the day, it wasn't. I mean, I sat with it, and it wasn't really about the accent was part of it. Sometimes when my Spanish gets out of control as I'm going through a podcast or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Spanglish.
And that was part of it. But I feel like the biggest thing or the biggest reason why it took me so long to actually own it own the fact that I'm gonna do content. I'm gonna push my message. I don't give two shits about the feedback because I'm interested in what's going out, right? And I have something to say. So there's always gonna be naysayers. There's always gonna be, you know, people who,
of course,
don't necessarily resonate, right? But you know, I have the faith I have in what I want to say is so strong that it supersedes everything else. But the reason it took me so long to really come in and own it was because I was going to be vulnerable.
Yeah, but here's the thing that people have to understand, and I appreciate your authenticity about that, man. That's awesome. Is that okay? So let's break this down. I have a story, a self-image about myself that I'm not good on camera or whatever the case is, right? Or like I won't be well articulated, or my accent, or whatever it is. There's a belief there, and now that sets up.
Let me tell you this: you have an uncanny talent for breaking down like 3-syllable words.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very good. I just thought you should know.
Anyways, that self-image, those belief systems, fucker, set up a biased lens, and now we perceive our reality through that lens that's in alignment with the belief. It's like nobody cared about your accent. Nobody cared about anything that you felt insufficient about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we project that onto reality as if it's real, and it's just a story. And it's like, but look how successful a lot of people are at like projecting out their beliefs into the reality and holding themselves back. And it's like, you're 100% successful at whatever you believe. And so the question is, what is it that you believe? And might you be full of shit? And you can swap out that story for something compelling and forward moving. And so why are we not paying attention and focusing on that?
We can swap out the story, and I love where you're going with this. We can swap out that story. I think the click doesn't really happen until we own that story, right? Like,
no, because you don't have any power over it if you're a victim.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so like, for example, for me, it was understanding that, okay, like how in alignment am I with my purpose of empowering entrepreneurship? Okay, so whatever the rest of the noise is, I have to own this one thing.
Yeah.
I have to own my desire to empower entrepreneurship, and owning that allows me to not care about a lot of the little things.
Yeah, because it's bigger, it's more compelling to you than the fear, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Before you started doing video, and that was a concern, it was a fear, right?
Yeah.
Were you talking to any kind of clients, coaching students on stage, anything like that?
Yes, I was doing. Yeah, I wasn't doing as many stage presentations as I do now. But,
yeah.
But yeah, I was.
Okay.
So I was there. I would, still freak out and.
Yeah. Oh,
and do
totally.
my thing,
Yeah. And so same thing with like my agents, right? My agents, and I work for them. They don't work for me. But you know what I mean. Point is, like, they'll tell me, hey, I'm totally good if you put me in front of a client. I can articulate and I can say wonderful things that's supportive to the client, all of that. But on camera, I just go blank. And it's like, what's the difference? I mean, really, what's the difference?
Yeah.
And so, with owning it, it's like, it's just acceptance. Can I just accept that this is how I feel? This is what I'm thinking. Like, good,
just
bad, right,
surrender
wrong.
to it.
Yeah, just accept the damn thing. So what? Now what? This is what is.
Yeah.
And I'm satisfied. And so with that, you're able to make change, reframe the story, right? And drive new behavior that's in alignment with the results you want to create. So, like, it doesn't have to get more complicated than that.
Right.
But you got to take action with that understanding. Now you got to implement it. You got to integrate it and have an experience of yourself as that new being. And that always feels amazing. And so, I'm a firm believer that delegate your weaknesses and double down on your strengths. So the camera thing wasn't necessarily a weakness because you can already articulate. It's just a fear. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you weren't proficient and weren't as good as you are today because you hadn't practiced. However, you can still articulate if that was a human being standing in front of you instead of a camera. So why is it the camera causes me to go blank or feel insufficient? That's really what we have to take a look at.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's. I feel like that's part of it. There's also different types. For example, we're on stage, right? Mm-hmm. Stage is public speaking. Yeah, you're gonna get. I mean. You're gonna be put in the spot and whatnot, but you're prepped. Like, you have a 45-minute block of stuff that you're gonna talk about. Maybe open up a Q&A. It's gonna be you have some safety. What do you call them? Guardrails right? In terms of what the conversation is going to be like.
Yeah, you're directing it.
Exactly. So when you think about it logically, like, why would anybody be afraid of public speaking? Well, you know what you're going to be talking about on stage.
100%.
Like,
you're confident about the topic.
Yeah. When you have the lights on you can't see anything. And like, anyways, you can't see the people in front of you, most of the time. So right. Like, I feel like the thing for me was I realized really quick is like, oh shit, like I can't script all this stuff.
No.
Like if I'm gonna pick up topics that are relevant, that are happening on a daily basis, basically documenting my experience and then putting that somehow, some way in a video and something that's relatable, right? But that requires being vulnerable. Yeah. So for me, I'd never been vulnerable before then, and it's okay, cool. Like it's. Being an owner, you're not too vulnerable. Like you're bossing people around, you're telling people what to do and whatnot. At least that's how I rolled.
So you know what? Yes, and like Brene Brown talks about vulnerability, and that takes courage. It's like people aren't willing to expose themselves like that. And so, what if we reframe this instead of vulnerable? Because like vulnerable to me means like you're susceptible to like death, injury, hurt. You know what I mean?
To me, it's just being open.
Well, so I call it authentic. Like, this is real. This is what is. Yeah. And there's no better way to lead people than authenticity. Yeah. Like, to show them under the hood, so to speak. Like, this is reality. You know what I mean? Like, they can relate to that, and now you're more human instead of, boss title or some weird shit construct. You know what I mean? Like, it builds connection. Yeah.
Another piece of advice I got early on when I was like building my first business, somebody told me like, don't ever let your employees see that you're struggling. You always have the answers, right? And I thought like I took that as a fact. I was like, no, people can't see I'm struggling.
That's stressful.
Exactly. I can't show weakness because I'm running a business. I'm running a company. Well, I was trying to figure every damn thing by myself, man. When there were like way more talented people in my, as employees that could, take that, to way farther than I even cared for. That was something, right? That was, I owned the wrong thing on that one. I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna own I'm the end all be all of, whatever. The world.
What are you, the fucking messiah?
This is the nation of Raphael on this one company.
Well, even if you weren't told that, I think it's a natural belief that a lot of leaders or self-employed people have, is that I'm supposed to be the all things to all people and have all the answers and not show fear. Yeah.
So what I'm getting to is, I realized as I went and I got experience that like, no, there's there's talent everywhere, right? There's talent for the type of talent that I like that I don't.
God.
Yeah, I don't care to develop. Like it's not in my cup of tea. Yeah. It's not in my lane. It's not in, some people love like getting, nitty gritty with, spreadsheets. I do them. I'm really good at them, but it's not like, I don't like to play in that space, right? Yeah. Some people do. So why not deploy that kind of stuff? Anyways, when I switched my mindset on that too, it took me a minute to own it. Why? Because ego was right smack down in the way. Like, no, I'm showing weakness. I can't show weakness. I'm a business owner.
I'm going to look less than.
Yeah, and then it took me a bit of a struggle. And I'm telling you, I don't know, a good 3 to 6 months before I wrapped my head around it. And finally, one day, I was tired. I was fed up. I was like, all right, fuck it. Just do whatever. Like, roll with it and, tell me what you got. Yep. Best thing ever happened. Best thing to ever happen in my business. Why? Because I started getting solutions and results, from the team, right?
Yes, so effortlessly to you.
Yeah, exactly. So that allowed me to own that new perspective, right?
Man, part of it's like shoulda, coulda, woulda. Like if you can go back in time with that knowingness and not have to expend all of that time and energy trying to uphold that bullshit belief of I gotta be all things and don't show weakness. Yeah. Because it wasn't until you hit the exhaustion you were like, I don't care. Whatever happens, happens. And then you were allowed people to step in.
Literally, I got into a mental survival mode.
Yep.
So at that point, it's like anything that comes, it's fine.
Totally.
You're exhausted. You don't have the patience for it.
You just don't care anymore. You give up control. And so if you take from that moment, but all the way back to when you started, if you would have had that knowingness then, oh my God. However, as entrepreneurs, the price you have to pay sometimes is to discover a thing on your own.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's part of the I wish I would have listened to honestly, like, not that I'm tooting our own horns, but
Entrepreneurs don't listen.
no. I wish I would have listened to more like stuff like this. I mean, there wasn't anything, podcasts were not necessarily a thing when, launching the first business and all that stuff. So a lot of it was just, banging my head against the wall and breaking through the brick, with my forehead. It's
Trial and
like,
error.
yeah, exactly.
It's a shitty way to learn.
Yeah, I feel like now there's a lot more ability to borrow perspective, and then if you have, I don't know, 2 neurons alive in your brain, you're gonna sit down and do a little bit of critical thinking, compare and contrast, and kind of pick the best route for you, right? Something that fits.
When you said that, I pictured like 2 cockroaches in there playing dominoes.
It's interesting that what neurons look like to you. I'm just saying.
No, there was some. Never mind. We're being recorded. But
yes, exactly. All right, good. Moving on. Another thing about not owning, whatever you're going through, not owning the situation that you're in. And I don't know. I mean, I like to cross the lanes per se when it comes to the areas of life, right? Because we can own the business side of it, but we're not owning the relationship side. Maybe we're not owning, I don't know, the financial side. We're not owning the fitness side. We're not owning any of that stuff.
I feel so attacked.
Yeah, because it's easy to say, hey, listen, I'm not going to the gym because I have this and that.
Yeah.
Fucking own it. At the end of the day, like I guarantee you, there's 15 minutes in the day you can find to do something. I mean, your workouts are what, 12 minutes long?
Yeah,
you were
7 to 15 minutes,
bro. When I met you, you were 3 times the man you are now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that in a bad way, and it's like consistency though. Like through the years, you own that aspect of your health, right?
It's my health.
And it wasn't 3; it was more like 2.5. So yeah. But it goes to show, right? When you take full responsibility of where you're at, you take leadership within yourself first, and you start owning, that type of stuff. That whole sensation of walking on eggshells, I feel like dissipates. It almost goes away.
Yeah, because that sensation is like disenabling. You know what I mean? Like it actually holds you hostage. Yeah. And I want to say something about owning it. Some people that still subscribe to the hustle and grind mentality, it's like they can own it too far, like to a point where they control everything, and now you're the bottleneck. I'll give you an example. So when I was a realtor, there was a time.
Really good point.
Yeah. There was a time where I had to reinvent my business because I had bank-owned listings, and then that stopped. And so I had to start all over from scratch. Didn't have a database or nothing. I let all that go for a couple of years. And I got to the point I was doing like 24 deals a year. Not bad in 2011. And my point is, like, I was told to get a transaction coordinator. Like, get the paperwork off my mind because I'm not really good at it anyways. And I'm like, yes, I am. I know the contract and all that, and that wasn't the point. That year that I did 24 sides, there were 2 files where, for those you don't know, like, you got to hand in all your paperwork in order to get your commission check. Well, the commission check came in. I'm like, yes, payday. And they're like, we don't even have a file for this. Now, that's a big problem for a realtor because the broker has to sign off on all the paperwork within so many days.
Yeah.
And here we are 35 days later, and they don't even know that there's a file. That's bad. So I was afraid of hiring a transaction coordinator because they might screw it up. They might screw up my whole transaction, and I could lose it, and I can't afford financially to lose that escrow. And it's like, wait a minute. I'm concerned and I'm scared to hire someone because they might screw up, but I'm screwing up.
Yeah.
2 files in a year. And so when I hired that transaction coordinator, like, man, the amount of mental bandwidth that opened up to not have to switch gears and, call, just do like follow-up type stuff and turn in documents and all that, draft a simple little document. Like, that takes time, and it breaks focus from the things that you love doing that generate revenue, serving clients and all that kind of stuff. It's like, but I was controlling the situation because I thought nobody could do it better than me.
Yeah.
So as a leader, you got to take a look at, okay, what really am I good at that moves the needle forward? And some other things I might be great at, but they're really not that important. Like, let it go. Because there's somebody else out there that does it way better than you. Like you said, the spreadsheets, you know what I mean? Like, I have an executive assistant, and she has an assistant. Because there's things I don't want to do. I'm not good at it. And even if I was, I developed the skill set, it's not the highest and best use of my time for the company, for my clients to grow. Do you know what I mean? It's like you got to get yourself out of the way.
100%, man. It's and like in that scenario, right? You still owned it. You owned the fact that you were bottlenecking the thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to swallow that per se when you are a micromanager, when you're on top of everything, when you're like, you know what I mean?
Well, that controlling is an ego. Like it's a misperception.
So it's the concept of owning, everything that's coming at you. It's not necessarily, broken down into good or bad. It's both, right? It's owning the good, owning the bad, and if it's something bad, okay, what can I do to pivot from it so it's in alignment with that vision that I own? That anything that's going to lead me towards that, ideal life or that, point that I want to get to, is actually propelled by my ownership in anything that I do.
Yeah. Well, how do you be a leader? Because a leader is somebody that creates results through others. How do you create results through others if you're not willing to own the result?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is someone on your team, whether it's an employee or a contractor or whatever, if they make a mistake, that's your result. So what wasn't communicated, or what can I have done better? Because that's an opportunity to learn. Like, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Yeah.
So next time I'm going to communicate clearly. I'm going to put this in writing. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much beauty that can come from that, gold. And you just got to be willing to own the results. And if you're not willing to own somebody else's results because you're leading them, you don't belong being a leader.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't do it. They didn't submit the thing. They didn't. Okay. Is it in your lane? Is it something that it's it's supposed to be handled somehow, some way connected to you, or a responsibility that lands there? Like, own it.
Well, to say no. Well,
get in it.
I gave him that assignment 90 days ago. Great. When did you check in between the time you assigned it and day 91? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Where was your hand in this?
One thing that I've done for a long time, and I do this with my kids, man. And I've taught them the concept of owning it. Well, my older son, the youngest one, is a mess. My daughter is so good at it.
It's a mess.
Yeah, but the little one doesn't. Yeah. So, anyways,
he's just like you in a lot of regards.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying he's a mess. No, he's gonna get. I feel like he's gonna get to that point. Right now, is like he's not there yet.
Well, he just doesn't care. Like, he doesn't care in the sense of like limitations.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
So
No
which I feel like it's good. I don't want to take that away from him, like putting a lot of constraints.
Don't stifle that.
Yeah, exactly. So let that grow, and then when it starts getting illegal, I'll come back. And
then we'll polish him up.
Yeah, we'll polish him up a little bit.
Take off the rough edges.
Hey, listen, there's a couple things we need to work on here. But no, like Alejandro, for example, he's 16. He's very centered. And one of the things that I always and I haven't really I haven't sat down and I told him the concept of owning your results, right? Owning it, even when it's something that's not in your lane, but it's thrown in your lane, you still gotta own it. I don't know. You're walking down the street and you see a piece of trash. Like, okay, I saw that thing in my head. I know that's wrong. That piece of trash shouldn't be on the floor. Now I have to own it. You know what I mean? Just go and do the right thing. Pick it up, toss it in the trash can. That sort of thing. But I feel
instead
like
of complaining about the person that threw it out.
Yeah, exactly. Or instead of looking at it and say, people, you know what I mean? Fucking own it. Like, it's in your lane. It's right there. You can do something about it.
You have the ability to respond.
You have the ability to respond. Respond the right way, right? Whatever is in alignment with you. And because I feel like that's going to create a habit of doing things. Okay, a way of doing things, and how you do one thing is how you do everything. It really
it's a mental model.
Yeah, it really, exactly, becomes a mental model. So the little things, they keep talking about like the people who make their bed in the morning and all that stuff. It's not the bed that gives you the magic.
No.
It's the mental model that waking up in the morning and then clearing your space, kind of resetting,
achieving a task.
Yeah, resetting the room, per se, right? Does for you going forward. So
100%.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't make my bed in the morning, but it's. I mean, I've heard great stories about it. No, there's a lot more things that I do that are not, necessarily on the bed. I probably should do that one. I'm going to do it, and I'll come back and report to you guys.
Who gets out of bed last, you or your wife?
My wife.
Yeah, so then the next bullshit story I usually hear is, well, I get up first, and good, make your half of the bed.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to make my half of the bed.
Yeah.
I'm going to make my bed with her on it. And
whatever.
Then, whatever. So anyways, but yeah, that's just,
Does she always have all the sheets anyways?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I thought it was just me.
Bullies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but it's pretty interesting, right? The concept of walking into something with a sense of ownership, with a sense of, man, there's something I can do about this.
Yeah.
It takes away that powerlessness of things.
Totally.
And I mean, we talk about personal power all the time, and how that, you know, just when you come to grasps with or to grips, what's the see what
come to terms, come to grips.
Yeah, come to terms. See what I'm saying? All right, so you come to terms with the fact that you can do something about it, and it's and you can have a positive effect, positive outcome on something else. I mean, it just changes everything. We can't get to that point or that mental model without having you know, the ability to own it.
Yeah, and owning it doesn't mean that you were necessarily the one that caused it.
Yeah.
So, like, taking responsibility for it, though, means just that. Okay, I didn't create this. However, I have the ability to respond to it.
Yeah.
World hunger. No, you didn't create that, but we have a responsibility.
Yeah.
So, what can I do? What, no matter how seemingly insignificant and small, go to a soup kitchen and serve. You know what I mean? Like, you can do something.
Bro, one of the things that triggers me the most is people who do the bare minimum.
Ugh.
Like I didn't sign up for that. Like it's not in my job description. It's like I don't know. Like it just kills me.
Not able to wrap my head around it.
Like it ruins my soul little by little whenever I see stuff like that.
Punch you in the face.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want to become a bad human. So no, but you know, and I can ramble on that, but it's important just to understand that we have the ability to do something. We have the ability to be proactive and own our path. There's three principles that I run from. My businesses run from, and the first one is extreme radical. It's transparency, radical transparency. The second one is extreme ownership. And then the third one is people over profits. Okay, so three simple principles.
Love those.
Yeah, they become the behavior guidelines, right, for the team, for everything that we do, how we shape systems, processes, how we go about policy. Like, I mean, make everything, you know, work out. The second one, I mean, it's a core pillar, man. Extreme ownership. Like, if I see something that's going awry, like, oh, I'm gonna try to own it. I'm gonna redirect it or do something about it, right? Not just, oh, it's not my responsibility, and walk away. Like, fuck that. That's not. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I love that. No, those are fantastic core principles.
Yeah. You were gonna say something. What was it?
Oh yeah. So radical transparency, extreme ownership, and people over profits.
Right.
Beautiful.
Thank you. So, all right, just I mean, good. I feel like it's important to bring awareness to that, you know, to the fact that we can, own our behaviors, right? We can own our actions, our responsibility. Like it's you don't need. It's. I feel like sometimes people need permission to do good stuff.
Yeah.
People need permission to be themselves, and
that's the truth.
And I mean, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, I mean, I don't know. If you need permission to do it, to own it, like, we're giving you permission to own it. Right now, own everything going forward for the rest of your life. You got permission on this
It'll
podcast.
Change everything. Everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, with that being said, good deal, man.
Well, I want to say one last thing. So we didn't tell the YouTube people. We did it on Instagram, but I had this.
The YouTube people.
Well, you know, the other
sounds
recording.
like a rare breed.
Well, they are, because, you know, not everybody takes advantage of all that free information out there.
Ooh.
And that's not
Plot.
smart to not to. So,
Plot twist.
Yeah, right. And so this morning I had an awareness, and I took note of it for the JT show. And then that was at 8:10 I documented it. It's in my notes. And then you text me at 10:10 with the title of today's podcast. And I was like, dude, how crazy is that they are in exact alignment? And I say that not only because that was really cool that we were on the same frequency without even talking to each other, but it just goes to show, like, we're all more the same and deal with the same things more than people think. They think, like, they're dealing with the situation and, like, it's just me because I'm defective or insufficient. It's like, no, wrong, incorrect. We're more alike than we are dislike. And so, that being said, like, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, Instagram, YouTube, doesn't matter, like, comment and talk about what you're experiencing. You'd be amazed at how many people are experiencing the same thing. And we'd love to talk about it. We're just talking about what we experience,
Yeah.
which I know resonates with a lot of people, but what else? Like, as you say, it's a two-way conversation. So participate, engage. You'll be glad you did.
Love it. Where can somebody get a hold of you?
Yeah, justinthorstad.com, Facebook, Instagram, or my cell phone, 602-348-8534.
Savage. All right, fam, I hope you guys liked the episode. Do us a big favor. Go to Rafael Cortez CEO on YouTube. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and you share it. If you feel the content that we're putting out for you guys on a regular basis has some strength, some base, or some foundation to it, and somebody else can benefit from it, send it over, right?
Yeah.
Help us spread the message. So with that being said, make sure you follow me on social media as well. Instagram, Rafael Cortez CEO. You can find me everywhere. So
There's the accent again.
Yeah, you what?
There's that accent again.
Yeah, exactly. See what happens?
He does that on purpose.
See?
Feel like suave.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I own it now, and I like now I feel it's sexy
Good.
because I'm owning it. It's like Antonio
Okay.
Banderas if he was from like deep Mexico. It's not like Antonio Banderas. All right, so yeah, love you all. Stay focused. You got this.